Hey guys, drive by here. I'm gonna go over how to properly set a base. I think that it's something that's often overlooked, and people think they understand it, but I think there's a lot more to it. And a good base sitter is, kind of hard to find. So this is a clip, probably not the best clip for it. I just played some rated battlegrounds and just took the first one I went to, and here we go. When you're setting a base. If you have a character that can go stealth, right, you're going to want to go stealth. You're going to want to stay about 30 yards out from the flag. I try to sit as far away as I can without, what's the word, being so far away that my ranged ability is going to work on them. So for me, I'll use like Moonfire, but for a hunter, you might use, like Arcane Shot, or just anything really that gets instant damage off when you click the button. So that's really important that you have something ready. Some things to keep in mind. If you stand on the flag, you are very susceptible to getting sapped and then capped on, kidney shot, then capped on. Even like you might even be able to get cyclone capped on depending on how your gear is if you have a CC reduction. So you want to just keep that in mind. Notice things like lumber mill. This is me on lumber mill right now. I'm not, sitting on the edge, right? I'm not sitting in a predictable spot. I try to stay, 30 yards out at all times. And I tend to move around a lot, but there's more to base sitting than just sitting there, right? You want to keep the flag on your screen, and you want to be constantly checking the flag. But also you want to be checking the battleground enemies. If you don't have that, get that add-on. And you want to be just kind of checking where the rogue is, checking what the team fight's going on, because you can give a lot of intel. Someone like your target caller or your raid leader might be in a team fight and just saying like, hey man, I see two pulling out of that fight. He knows that now maybe they've overcommitted like players to it and they want to know where it is. So if you have a pet, I think the trick to the pet is to command the pet to sit on the flag, you stand away, put the pet on offensive, right? So that when you get put in CC, the pet will just attack the target and they have to CC you and the pet. And that's really hard to do. And it also works if they smoke bomb. Some things you want to know, smoke bomb is a 5-second last and it takes 6 seconds to cap a flag. So if you see somebody smoke bomb, then you need to be spamming that ability because they will not be able to smoke bomb cap. There'll be a 1-second gap between then and the cap. Right? You're kind of screwed if they send multiple. You got to use that trinket to get the spin on the flag. So if there's like a rogue and a hunter, and the hunter is on you and he sets you in like a trap or something like that, then you want to make sure that you save your trinket, and as soon as you trinket, you use your ability within the window on the capper. So if the capper's got, like I said, the rogue smoke bombs himself and starts capping, you need to wait, and you need to wait till the smoke bomb's over, and you need to trinket Moonfire, or trinket Arcane Shot, or trinket Curse of Agony, or something like that. Something that's going to give instant damage up front. It's really important. AoE does not work. So it's got to be a targeting ability. So keep that in mind. I think that a lot of people mess this up. A lot of people are late to communicate, or they don't communicate enough. When there's somebody attacking you, right? If there's somebody trying to cap the flag, you need to make sure that your team knows, as soon as you sniff it out, if you see them, it's better to constantly check while you're watching the flag and make sure that you see people coming. That way you can give your team to come rotate. Every team should have a peel, somebody that's designed with good movement to come help base sitters, because the base sitter job seems boring, but really it's a vital role and you have to do it well. So don't stop saying that they're there until somebody responds, right? Be like, I have one here. I have one at lumber mill. Rogue at lumber mill. Rogue at lumber mill. Hey guys, I need help at lumber mill. Lumber mill needs help. And if anybody says dude, stop saying something, they don't understand how vital it is, and it's very easily could cost you the game if you don't get a response. So if there's a big team fight and everybody's communicating CC and there's a target caller and they're, you know, the healers are like, somebody's on me, I need help. You need to make sure that you cut through all that. Honestly, you're a priority, right? If the rogue is on you, that means that there's one less person in the team fight and that they can afford to send a person out. It's a numbers game, right? So just keep that in mind when you're sitting bases. If you have traps, set your traps. Yeah, pets are always strong. If you have an immunity, like let's say you're a hunter and you have aspect of the turtle, or if you're old like me, deterrence is what we would call it. That's guaranteed time that you're able to guarantee that they will not be able to cap it. Make sure you have a cancel for your immunity so that you could always hit them if they are trying to cap in the middle of your immunity. But you know, they'll give you 5 seconds. So they cannot stop you. And here's another thing: like if you get sapped, so like what's it, 6 seconds or something like that with the thing, that's already like too long. But be patient. Don't stress. Don't trinket sap unless you absolutely have to for some reason. Don't trinket sap. You want to trinket the blind, because after that, all they have is kidney, right? Kidney is not long enough if you're a decent distance away for them to kidney you and run away, or the shadow step and run away. So make sure you're balancing that. I think as long as you have good communication, manage your distance, don't stress, understand your opponent's abilities to control you, you will be fine. If there's like a druid, there's common that people do like a rogue druid setup. You need to be tracking all the stealthies, and you need to be like, look, the druid's not in a team fight. If you don't know where the druid is, like you should be actively monitoring. Like when you go into a game, you should be running down, like you're running to pick that flag that your teammate, that your leader told you to get. You should be checking to see what character they have going to what base. And you should just be, even if you can't see it, let's say they go stealth on the base, even if you can't see it, you should be like aware that they could have ghosted it. And that'll come to your second job. You should be seeing and checking if they're ghosting bases, because you could be a really good source for telling your rogue when they've made a ghost decision, which means like they've decided to leave a base unsat or undefended in an effort to be like super offensive. And typically this happens when they're either early in the game or when they're losing and they have no choice but to put more numbers out on the offense in an effort to try to get another base to offset the score into their favor. So don't look at base sitting as a boring job. It's actually a vital, very active job. There's just not a lot of fighting necessarily, but there could be. And then I also think when you're the base sitter and like your teammates come to help you, I think it's everyone's priority to spin the flag, but you should put your as top priority. Like you're still the base sitter. This is still your territory. Just make sure you are actively spinning. When you get put in CC and you're like actively spinning, you need to let them know, like, I'm in CC. Somebody's got to spin for me. Somebody's got to spin the flags. Spinning the flags are referred to like you're the person that's putting, constantly hitting the people that are spinning it. Then, if you can, you should be a DPS, right? Healers shouldn't be capping the flags unless like there's absolutely no damage going out. It should be a DPS, and since it's your role, I think you should be the first one to be actively capping. You would be surprised how many times you can just sit there, spam cap, and get it. And here's the benefit to spam capping. If you are spam capping the flag, this is a great example of a warlock doing exactly what I explained earlier. If you're spam capping the flag, you are making it so that their DPS are not really doing damage to the target being called in the fight. So essentially you're CCing them and you're controlling the fight and you're offsetting their damage and you're making it easier for your healers to heal. So don't think that if you're spam capping, you have no value. You actually have a tremendous amount of value and you're canceling somebody. If you are, I'm playing a Guardian Druid right now. If you're playing like a tank, your job in these fights where you're stuck, spinning the flag is also to get a lot of CC out on DPS and healers. If healers are in DR, then you should be CCing a DPS, which is damage mitigated, which is healing done. If you have 100 CCs in a game, You need to look at that as like, I did a lot of healing, or because you mitigated a lot of damage. The other thing is, let's say you lose a base, right? Like you're gonna lose bases. It happens, right? Like your job is not the easiest sometimes. Sometimes you just outnumbered. Sometimes you don't have the tools. You just had a recent fight, you lost your trinket, and you don't have a way out. If you're the base sitter, especially someone like me playing a guardian druid, you should, when you res, alleviate somebody else who's sitting, right? So if a hunter's sitting and you're a guardian druid, or you're a prot paladin, or you're less than they are, or less effective in a team fight, essentially, you should be like, hey, look, when I get there, when I get to lumber mill, I know you're sitting hunter. When I get to lumber mill, I'm going to take over. You leave and go commit to the team fight, right? That way, you're maximizing your damage in the team fight. Other than that, man, like, it's a pretty simple job. Look at buffs, right? Look at the buffs around you. Sometimes things like rogues, they'll take a buff before they open on somebody, and they could give away that they're at your site. Just a general idea. Keep map awareness. You're kind of like the backup information, right? And in a sense, you're kind of the primary information because you're the only person that has the time. But don't look at your phone. Don't get on Facebook or whatever you use. Don't open up the map real big and not look at the screen, right? I did a stretch right there. It's not that bad, but like, see, I have my map in the top right. I know where my teammates are, and honestly, you should be able to tell where they're going to try to cap next. It's like just looking at the map, and if I'm down at mines and my team's fighting at lumber mill and they need another cap, they're going to choose lumber mill. They're going to choose me because it's the longest distance we have to travel to recover from them. And all the main base sitters are designed to be able to survive that amount of time. So just keep that in mind when you're base sitting. Don't look down on it. If you don't want to base sit all the time, tell your leader, like, I want to break from base sitting. Swap your spec out and have somebody else do it. Anything with a pet is a pretty good one. Anything with an immunity is a pretty good one. Anything with stealth is a pretty good one. It's not a hard job. I think most classes can actually base sit. It's just a matter of like, where is your class being the most effective at. So keep that in mind when you're base sitting. I think that this should help you, and have a good time. Don't stand on flags. I always sit there and like remind people, like, just trying not to interrupt the target calling, but I'll be like, hey guys, don't forget to use your banner. Like, hey guys, just letting you know that Paladin is forbearance. You all know if a red Paladin is in forbearance, he's pretty much a dead man if you switch to him, right? He doesn't have he can't use his bubble, little things, but you don't want to be overbearing. There's a medium ground. Hey guys, just letting you know, like, there's 5 of them in the graveyard and there's 7 of you standing there. Like, these are things. Like, this is a time to build your strategy and really try to understand, what's going on the map. You have the time and the sight to be able to see. Don't stand on edges, and make sure you're very clear and precise and persistent about getting help. Because if you don't get help, they're going to blame you. They're going to blame you. Right? Other than that, man, constantly watch where the players are, and I hope this helps, and I hope you have good success. Learn the big cooldowns, like range, right? Blind is 15 yards. Learn the range, learn the cooldown. If you're base sitting and you have your trinket down, let your leader know, like, listen, I'm base sitting, I get that, but I have my trinket down, right? If the rogue is opening and he's running to you to blind, run away from him, right? Keep a dot on him so that he can't re-stealth and get that sap off. Because if he gets that sap off and he's able to, run to the thing, sprint to the thing really quickly, or if a teammate comes and helps him out, you might be in a lot of trouble. Another thing I like to do is when I'm sitting base and I feel like I'm just kind of waiting and my risk of getting capped on is pretty low based on the position of their rogue or the position of their stealthy, knowing that they're in a team fight basing on my team, is that I'll target whatever the target call is calling in an attempt to influence my other teammates to realize, like, hey, there's a lot of people targeting this. So I actually try to help with, the targeting numbers and, influence the fight a little bit that way. So keep that in mind. In addition, when you die and you're spinning the flag, or like I said earlier, CC'd off, you need to let your teammates know that you are no longer able to spin the flag. Every time you're unable to spin the flag and your flag's spinning, you need to make sure your team knows, I can't spin, I'm dead, I can't spin, your flag carrier, your flag spinner can't spin, they're capping. Even if you see somebody capping and you feel like there's a chance you might not be able to get to them, you should say something so that you have done your job. Keep in mind, you're only 10% of the team. You can't win this by yourself. So make sure your team absolutely understands that. Develop a relationship with your peelers. It's a really good idea to to have them as a friend and to trust that they're coming when they say they are. Right? Other than that, like, comment, subscribe. I hope this helps. I'm going to make some more RBG videos and make us better. I hope to maybe make a little flag running video. I will admit this is one of my worst games ever, but I really don't care. I just wanted to show you just an example of like me just sitting base. After looking at it at Lumber Mill, in the earlier fight I probably could have healed my teammate a little bit, maybe prolong their life. But when you're defending a flag and the enemy like starts capping and then they run away, it's an effort to pull you off the flag. That's not your job. Don't chase them off the flag. Make sure that you are able to range whatever hits the flag when you do that, because you could easily get feared away and then come out of fear and be just too far away to hit it. So don't get baited off the flag. Just know your role. Know what your team expects from you. It's just not your job. All right. When you're referencing a player on the other team, make sure you use their class and then like the first letter of their name, or vice versa. So like Z Priest or C Demon Hunter. Make sure that when you're going to the flags in the beginning after you've been appointed a role, that you say that you beeline there as quickly as you can, because sometimes that point could, in a really tight match, that extra second that you have could make a big difference. If you're not sure where you're going, make sure you just ask your raid leader. If he gets upset for you asking, he's a bad raid leader. He doesn't understand that maybe you were listening to something or thinking about something, or somebody was talking, or maybe the microphone didn't come just clear. Like, it shouldn't be a big deal, right? So make sure that if you're unsure, that you say something. Other than that, I think we've covered the main things. If you think there's anything else I should talk about, feel free to put it in the comments. So, of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. If I think of anything else to add to this video, I'll update it on the next one. There definitely are some things that I missed. I really like to take the buffs. I either watch them, or if it's like a Berserker buff, I'll usually take that one just so that they don't have it. You know, I don't want a rogue to open with 30% increased damage and all of his cooldowns. Yeah, a lot of add-ons to this, but, you know, I think we lose this match. It's not really what's important. This is a random team I just found. Last two things. I found that clicking at the base of the flag has been more effective than actually trying to click the banner. And then when you have teammates dying at your base and they're running by you, make sure you give them a rebuff. I constantly try to remind my team to rebuff, because something like stand buff might be a really powerful thing in a team fight, can make a big difference, or, you know, any of the buffs really. And often people are so caught up in fighting, new people joining, that there's a lot of people without them, and it could turn the tide of the fight. All right. And then one more thing. Last thing. Don't stand at angles where they can be kind of under a hill and cap up, because you'll be trying to click them and you won't be able to find line of sight. I've made that mistake before, and I wanted to squeeze it in at the end. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.